Life, as we know it, is over, Madeline.
I take it the meeting with your publisher did not result in that bonus we were expecting?
Oh, I was all set for Madeline. I mean, he took me to a great restaurant, said order anything you like, and then when the check came, he said, I'll take it because you can't afford it anymore, and I'll tell you why. He just sat there with a little glob of cheesecake stuck to the tip of his nose and told me that if my next book doesn't sell 500,000 copies, he's not going to publish me anymore. The fat.
Charlie, how can they just do that to you? You are Crystal Love. You are one of their leading authors.
I was. Until this Tiffany Knight came on the scene. I mean, she's taken over the romance market.
You're kidding. That ridiculous woman with the feathers, the hair, the makeup. She looks like an explosion at the Rose Parade.
I know, but she goes on all the talk shows. She's in all the gossip columns. That sells books. I can't do that. I mean, if my readers ever found out that Crystal Love was a man, they'd never buy another one of my books.
Well, why doesn't your publisher just hire someone to pretend to be Crystal Love?
We can't trust anybody with a secret like that. Except...
Charlie, I think you know me well enough to realize that my feeling about this is I would rather eat lobster at a truck stop.
Madeline, you'd be perfect. I mean, you're witty, you're charming, you're also a knockout. With you playing Crystal Love, the sales of my books would double. Besides, you'd only have to do it for a little while.
Charlie, I would love to help you, really, but I don't think I could be convincing as a writer. I mean, I don't even know when the letter Y should be considered a vowel.
Nobody knows that. Besides, I never really told you this, but sometimes when I write those really passionate passages, well, I think about you.
Oh, well, I suspected that.
Madeline, this is very important to us.
Well, maybe I could be a writer. Drop fancy words like genre, denouement. Appear on the last 23 seconds of The Tonight Show. Maybe I could do that.
Madeline, you have saved our life. Now I'm going to call my publisher. That.
You really think about me when you write those passionate scenes?
Of course I think about you. And the solid gold dancers.
Excuse me, is that the book you're planning to buy? Moby Dick. Don't waste your money. It's a lot like Jaws 2, except the fish doesn't eat the helicopter. Now, if you want a really great book, Crystal Love's Embers of Ecstasy. Finally, the definitive work on both embers and ecstasy. You're gonna love it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Crystal Love.
Thank you. Is everybody here in love? I hope so, because I am always in love. I love being in love because without love, I would probably watch a lot of TV.
Would you like to sit down?
Oh, I would love to. Thank you.
Miss Love, why have you never made a public appearance?
Oh, I believe a woman should maintain a certain air of mystery, don't you? Besides, I have been kept quite busy with my private appearances.
Miss Love, are you married?
I could never be tied to any one man because I like the wind, you see, and I must be free to blow the hats off of all men.
Miss Love, this is really an honor. Your books are so...
Well written, impeccably crafted.
Trashy. The only way to describe them is they're sweaty, they're steamy, they're hairy. Well, sometimes I just call up the guys at a fire station.
Well, thank you very much, thank you. Love has a lot of other fans. We mustn't keep them waiting.
This is my public. You cannot treat my public in this way. Just to show her the medical books.
How much time does it take you to write one of these?
Oh, let me see. This one I tossed off one spring in Zurich. Every now and then, Gustav would take a break, go climb a mountain, and I would bang out a couple of chapters.
I slaved on that book for nearly 10 months, 3 weeks of which I had pink eye.
Really? I read it while waiting in line for Yentl.
Well, if it isn't Crystal Love at last.
Tiffany Knight.
Take my fox, will you, Rod? My secretary is my rod and my staff. Crystal, darling, I'm thrilled to meet you. I understand this is your first public appearance. With that figure, I can see why. I see you speak as well as you write. But then, I must admit, I did admire your last effort. I've never been able to put an entire book together simply by rearranging excerpts from my previous work.
Wait a minute. Listen. There is not one word in Embers of Ecstasy that was in Towers of Ecstasy. Except ecstasy. An occasional throbbing, but it's used quite different.
And who are you?
I'll tell you who I am.
Here's my secretary, Charles. He is my Charles and my rod.
You must type very well.
Which one of you ladies leads a more romantic life?
Well, there's really no contest. Everyone knows about my love life.
Well, I suppose in terms of quantity that Tiffany would have the edge. Of course, at her age, she has been at it that much longer.
Perhaps I should buy your book. It might come in handy if my poodle has a whoopsie.
Ah. Oh, that's a term that you are quite familiar with, because didn't the critics describe your last book as a whoopsie?
At least my books sell.
Well, they are selling today. Mine, however, seem to be all sold out, so if you'll excuse me, my dear, I cannot keep my fans waiting any longer.
This woman's going to be trouble.
What are you going to do about her?
I don't know, but we can't discuss it here. My bazongas are falling.
The things a man has to do to make a living these days.
Oh, I can't stand it anymore.
If his dancing's troubling you, there's just one thing for you to do. Gentlemen, goodbye, Haynes. Settle problems right away. There's just no other easy way. Gentlemen, goodbye, Haynes. Haynes will make you smooth and silky, sexy. And though you may feel very shy, he'll dance you right into the sky. Gentlemen, goodbye, Haynes.
I wish I was the older brother.
You do squirt.
Then I'd have your day with Kathy, and you'd have to go to bed. Let's switch.
Okay.
First, you brush with Colgate, young man.
I like that cool taste.
Me too, and Colgate helps fight cavities.
With MFP fluoride.
That's right.
The maximum fluoride protection a toothpaste can give.
And it tastes great. There's my date.
Oh, no, you don't.
Colgate Regular and Winter Fresh Gel. 2 great tastes, maximum fluoride protection.
Women everywhere are discovering dots. They're discovering new Freedom Thin maxi pads with funnel dot protection. Hundreds of tiny funnel dots. The dots say nice and dry. So follow the dots and discover new Freedom Thin maxi pads with funnel dot protection. The dots say nice and dry.
Look for the box with the dots.
1 week from tonight, what do you get when you cross a Latino comic?
That's why I carry the Mexican Express card.
With his family of 15 that doesn't understand his humor.
One more joke and they'll all pile into the Chevy and come after me.
Norman Lear's, a.k.a. Pablo, premieres next Tuesday at 8:30, 7:30 Central and Mountain.
my publisher, the Fats. Anyway, good news. Crystal Love's picture appeared in a few more papers, and sales are climbing.
I guess I make a pretty convincing love goddess, huh?
The best. You guys see this? Crystal Love makes the big time, the National Inquisitor.
Crystal Love says, I was taken to Venus by little blue men in a Ford Thunderbird.
I don't believe it. I'm your best friend. They got to read about it in the newspaper.
Who's it?
It's Tiffany, darling.
Tiffany Knight here? She can't see you like this.
Okay, I will go upstairs and change into Crystal Love. Okay, you are my secretary. You tell her I'll be right down. You, go home.
Wow, are you kidding? This is one hot lady. I gotta meet her. One night with her, I'd die happy.
Crystal, honey, I'm waiting.
Good afternoon, Miss Knight.
Hello, Charles.
Not much to look at, but any woman can write like that, can dangle my participles, anything.
Just make yourselves comfortable. Miss Love will be down in a second. She just went upstairs to get the oscillate out of the jacuzzi.
Hi, I'm Robert Leone. I wrote The Omen.
Charles? Charles, be a dear and get me a cup of tea, would you?
Certainly.
Yes, Charles, make that too, will you?
This doesn't look like a romance writer's house to me.
What's this? Looks like a wedding picture or something.
Oh, thank you. Tiffany, darling.
Was that a wedding picture I saw?
Of course not. That was Charles' graduation from secretarial school. That was prom night.
Crystal, dear, I hope you understood that that little brouhaha down at the bookstore was just a show for the cameras.
Oh, of course.
I made this myself. Tiffany, say maybe sometime you and I could get together.
You must excuse Robert. Robert is one of my ex-lovers, you see, and when I left him, the trauma was so severe that he lost over 90% of his intelligence. Charles, would you please show our guest to the door, using force if necessary? So, Tiffany, wouldn't you care to park it somewhere, dear?
Thank you, boys. That will be all. Well, now that we're alone and out of the public eye, let's talk about writing. I have a million questions to ask you.
Well, I only have 6 answers, so I'll be finished long before you.
That metaphorical phrase you used so beautifully in Tenderloins of Passion, the one about Quentin leaving the trail of erotic fire down Roberta's chest. What exactly did you mean by that?
Well, you know, he had this trail of erotic fire, and, he just thought her chest would be a very good place to leave it. Well, you are a woman, you know what I mean.
Oh, I do. Oh, you really are delightful. I'm so sorry we have to go. Rod, Crystal, let's do this again.
Oh, any time. Just call first, please.
Ta-ta, Crystal.
Ta-ta. Ta-ta.
She's hiding something. And I think I know how to find out what.
And there's 5 seconds left. 4, 3, 2. Leone throws him a prayer at the buzzer, and it's good!
Hello, Robert. Mind if I come in?
Oh, no, of course not.
I guess you probably weren't expecting me.
Oh, well, let's just say I had a hunch.
I like a man who sweats.
Guess you must have loved Louis Armstrong, huh?
You know, Robbie, it isn't easy being Tiffany Knight. All that writing about people getting hot and bothered can start to get me hot and bothered. And the feeling just builds and builds like a volcano inside me.
Oh, so I guess it's in there now, huh? You know, you're not like any woman I ever met before.
I can guarantee that.
Dear Miss Love, I am one of your biggest fans. I made this especially for you. Oh, how sweet. P.S. If you're not wearing this next time I see you, I will kill you. Oh.
Madeline, guess what? That was the Eddie Garvey show calling. They're going to do a segment in Chicago tonight with Tiffany Knight, and they want Crystal Love to be there, too.
Oh, great. I hope you told them no.
Well, here's the deal. I was going to say no, and then I decided that yes seemed to be the right answer.
Charlie, this whole thing is getting out of hand. You know the kind of questions Eddie Garvin's going to ask me. Who reads these books? I don't. Am I out of touch? Is this what America wants to read? How am I going to answer that, Charlie?
You just look at him going, oh, Eddie, you're such a cranky puss, and he'll melt right in his chair.
You know, a couple of bookstores is one thing, but I'm never going to get away with this on TV.
Madeline, we've come this far. Besides, it'll be the last thing you have to do.
Could I think about it, please?
Absolutely sure. Take your time. Well? Well, if they're going to do the show tonight, they need you there in an hour.
Oh, well. I'm sure I can handle this. I mean, if I wasn't thrown by that guy in the bookstore who asked me to dedicate my next book to his inner thigh, then this ought to be a snap.
You know, Chip, up to this time, all we've been talking about is Crystal Love. Why don't we talk about me, you, what we could have together in about 10 minutes?
As fond as I am of you, Robbie, I don't think there could ever be anything between us after what you've had with Crystal.
Oh, come on. Nothing really happened with us.
Rob, I think it's time we were honest with each other. You see, I know all about Crystal's little secret.
You do?
Of course. You don't think she could fool anyone for long, do you?
Of course. So, you know that Crystal Love is really a man. Great. Why don't...
So that's it! I knew something wasn't right about her. Crystal Love's a man.
Then you knew! You used me.
Believe me, Robert, it's better this way. We'd both regret it. You in a matter of seconds.
All right, everybody, settle in. Minute to hair.
Now, let's see. You're, Crystal, and you're Tiffany, and those are the names we're going to go with, right? Now, ladies, we'll do this segment just as soon as we get back from the commercial. Now, I want to have a good show, so don't be afraid to say whatever is on your mind.
I have something very interesting on my mind. You see, I have a startling revelation to make about Crystal Love's identity that I think your viewers will find very interesting.
Would you excuse me for a moment? I will be right back. Charlie, she knows about us. She's going to tell the whole world that you are really Crystal Love.
Whoa. Crystal, Tiffany, whichever one you are, come on, we're starting.
Just don't let her say it.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Eddie Garvin.
Romance novels. They're everywhere. And tonight, we're going to find out all about romance novels from two people who know them from between the covers, as it were. Tiffany Knight and Crystal Love. Ladies, it's wonderful to have you here. Who reads these books? I don't. I mean, am I out of touch? I mean, is this what America really wants to read?
Oh, Eddie, you're such a little cranky puss. People are hungering for romance, Edward.
That's right, Edward. Look at your cameraman. He is hungry for something, for romance, for a potato, for something.
I mean, you two ladies are competitors. But what do you honestly think of each other, huh, Tiffany Knight?
Eddie, I have nothing but the utmost respect for Crystal. Or at least I did, until I found out that she's not really...
Norwegian, yes, it is true. I'm not really Norwegian. That was a rumor that started while I was schnoodling a sculptor by the name of Thor van Knutenland.
That's very interesting, dear. But I think all our viewers should know that this woman is... This woman is a fraud, and I can prove it. Miss Love, do you want to tell them, dear, or shall I?
I will do it. Tiffany is right about me. Well, you see, before today, no one really knew what Crystal Love looked like.
Charlie, I came to warn you. Tiffany, she knows. I don't know how she found out.
Oh, this is just very hard. This is just, the hardest thing that I have ever had to say, really, except for the time that I had to ask Maria Mongarella, was that your child's puppy playing in our driveway?
Now get on with it. Tell the world about the lie you've been living. How you've fooled everyone into believing you're something you're not. The truth is...
Oh, I said I would do it. Just sit down.
Crystal Love is perpetrating an outrageous hoax on her loyal readers.
Whoa. Little drafty there, eh, Tiffany?
Zoom in on his head.
All right, I admit it. I'm a man, but I'm not the only one here with a secret. I have it on good authority that Crystal Love is also a redhead.
Yes, America, that is right. She's got me. Excuse me, I mean, he's got me.
Ladies and gentlemen, now this raises a very interesting question. Can a man write for women as well as a woman can write for women? But that's the subject for another program, and who wants to see that? I don't. So for tonight, let's just say good night, Crystal Love, and good night, Bert. Good night.
Oh, my goodness. You just,
I did this for a reason. You know how hard it is for a man to be accepted as a romance novelist? Thank God I've still got my job as a waitress.
Oh, Madeline, we'll continue in a moment.
Today, you've gotta be better than ever before.
Soft and Dry announces better spray protection than ever before.
You're nervous and tense, you need that score. But all they see is your skill and your pride. New Soft and Dry will help hide when you're nervous inside.
A major breakthrough gives improved Soft and Dry a higher level of protection than any leading spray.
New Soft and Dry will help hide when you're nervous inside.
Looks like you've got a bad cold, partner.
Yeah.
Sneezing, sniffling, runny nose?
Yeah.
And I'll bet you're achy and feverish, too.
Yeah.
How about if Mom gets you something to help take care of all that?
Mom's talking about Children's Co-Tylenol. It's the only chewable that relieves all the big symptoms of her little one's cold without aspirin.
Feeling better now?
Yeah.
Children's Co-Tylenol relieves all the big symptoms of your little one's cold without aspirin.
Sunday. Anne Margaret, Treat Williams. A streetcar named Desire.
Madeline, we did it, thanks to you. How do you feel about Donahue?
Oh, nice hair, cute wife, and no way.
Wonderful news, for me anyway. You see, I just talked to Eddie, and he told me they're not going to air our little segment.
Oh, that's very nice. Yes, I guess he wouldn't air anything that would potentially embarrass a person.
Exactly. It's not going on because he realized his fly was open.
Oh. Who wants to see that? I don't.